Greetings, this is Griff Ruby with part 13 of my series, Sedevacantism, the Catholic Perspective. As I was just getting to at the end of part 12, mistakenly called 11 in the intro, I'm sorry, what I was just getting into there about how the traditional bishops are the only possible recipients of the jurisdiction that and membership as the Catholic hierarchy with the authority to forgive sins, to judge, guide, rule, and teach infallibly in the name of the Church, and indefectibly in the name of the Church. The only possible recipient would be those clergy who are faithful to the Catholic faith, that is to say, the traditionalist priests and bishops. Those are the only possible lawful recipients. And as I indicated, the Lumen Gentium just threw this jurisdiction out to the winds. You see, this is possible in the realm of discipline because the allocation and division of authority among the various prelates of the church has always been at the church's discretion. So they can allocate that however they want. They can deprive somebody of jurisdiction, rightly or wrongly. Usually, it's supposed to be if there was some reason. Or give jurisdiction to somebody who probably shouldn't have it, but they'd still have it. Even if a bishop obtained a see through bribery, if the church assigns it to him, even for that, she's the bishop. So what that really means is, the church can apportion her authority among her hierarchical members however she pleases. Over the course of the 3rd and 4th and 5th centuries, the church developed a certain structure known as a diocesan structure, which was to carve up the known inhabited earth into various territories with a bishop appointed to each particular territory. And this has worked very well. And I hope someday for that kind of system to be restored. As I will get to later on, that was destroyed with Lumen Gentium. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Anyway, the church has the right, the authority, the legal power to apportion that jurisdiction pretty much wherever she pleases, but with the one limitation that obviously it couldn't be allocated to somebody who is obviously patently heretic, not a Catholic, unbaptized, etc., not tonsured as a cleric, any of a variety of other things it couldn't be apportioned to. But as the traditional clerics they're clearly baptized, tonsured as clerics, they're clearly Orthodox, their ordinations and consecrations are clearly and beyond dispute sacramentally valid, and more importantly, they were chosen and elected and appointed by their predecessors. So what Lumen Gentium has done is at least acknowledge, if not in this dying gasp of the church as one unified organization before splitting off into here's the church and here's a doppelganger organization, in its last dying gasp, officially, canonically apportioned legitimacy and jurisdiction, non-territorial, we'll get to that, but jurisdiction, the authority to act as a jurisdiction-holding bishop in the church. So this kind of points back to the illustrations I made earlier, one talking about how a bishop might go from being of a particular territory to being of a religious order that's around the world, but not exclusively over any territory anymore. That really is not a very far removed scenario from what really happened, you say, as far as the bishop. The other illustration was going from one office to two. For you see, the bishops of the church were appointed by the church. They belonged to the church. And although the leading office, there's a fundamental incompatibility between either having total jurisdiction or not having it, a lesser bishop, there's no conflict between having a territorial kind of authority versus having a worldwide but relative kind of authority over whatever individual souls belong to your flock in any part of the world. So a bishop could effectively have two offices. He would still have the office the church gave him as a bishop, but now he would have a new office as a functionary tied to whatever territory the new Vatican doppelganger organization sees fit to assign him and can transfer him at will. So, depending on the individual bishop, you had some who devoted their efforts to the new doppelganger organization. At some point, you can say through abandonment, they surrendered their sees. You had others who kept the faith. Not many, but it only took a few, and there were several. And of that several, 4 of them are known to have gone so far as to provide for the future of the Church's apostolic succession by consecrating successors. So these bishops, as you see, have legitimacy. They were picked by the Church. Now the successors also have legitimacy. You say, well, they don't have papal mandates. However, there's already a precedent from the 12th century when the Church went 3 years between popes, and about a dozen or so bishops of particular dioceses passed away, and other bishops from neighboring dioceses would elect, by whatever process they had, a new person to be a bishop, consecrate that man, and that would be the new bishop to serve at least as acting bishop of that diocese. And obviously it was all subject to ratification of a future pope. But as long as these selections are made carefully and properly, and the men administer their diocese properly, and they do have all authority of any ordinary bishop to do so in this interim, the Pope the next Pope did in fact ratify all of them, and that is a reasonable outcome that a next real Pope, when there is one, should ratify all or virtually all of the successions of bishops that we have among our real Catholic Church successions. So, but one other thing to draw from this, you say, here's a diocese, its bishop has passed away. Here's 3 other dioceses nearby, and the 3 bishops get together, consecrate, let's say they pick some other man from this diocese who was one of its priests, or someone who else. They pick somebody. They consecrate that individual, and they set him up now as the new bishop of this diocese. Now, none of them has authority over that diocese. That's not their diocese. It was the diocese of the one who passed away, and now becomes the diocese of the one they have consecrated. They have, in effect, demonstrated authority to act outside their diocese in such a case as this. But there'll be more to what happened with the dioceses and the boundaries and so forth as I talk about that in the next installment. Thank you.